Are we good? I think we're good. Hey, and welcome back to the channel. As of tomorrow, as you watch this video, tomorrow, I'm filming this like much earlier in the week, we are finally starting the NRL season. I'm really excited for this season, so I thought what better way to start off the actual season with a good old ladder prediction. And yeah, I know I'm probably a bit later than other YouTubers and I completely understand, but I wanted to get mine in a bit last minute, get the bit of the hype up. So yeah, if you go ahead and enjoy this ladder prediction, be sure to leave a like on the video and comment down below your ladder predictions. I would love to see what other people are thinking. I'm not gonna lie, my ladder prediction has chopped and changed in the last few days, even after the preseason. So my wooden spooners were different last week. My top 8 was slightly different. My top 4 has relatively stayed the same, but my wooden spooner has changed, which is kind of surprising. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to go from bottom to top, and I'm going to start with my pick for the wooden spooners. And unfortunately, if you are a Dragon supporter, I am going to be putting you at the bottom of the list. And it's only because when I saw their game with the Rabbitohs during the preseason, the fact that the Dragons almost had a full-on side and the Rabbitohs had a reserve grade side, and the Rabbitohs actually stomped them, I felt the Dragons were just a bit too clunky, and I feel like they're going to be a bit inconsistent this season. Coming in at 16, now I actually originally had these guys as the wooden spooners, but I think after I saw the Dragons, I'm like, no, I think the Dragons are slightly less, and that is the Bulldogs. Players like Stephen Crichton, Blake Taaffe, I think Taaffe is coming in, Salmon is coming in, and there are a few other couple players that are coming in as well. The Bulldogs do look like they are a lot better, but again, I feel like they are a bit inconsistent with what's actually what their team is trying to accomplish. I still feel like they are lacking a forward pack. Definitely losing Pangai Jr. is definitely a big deal for them, and I definitely feel like the Bulldogs need to work on their forward pack before I start seeing actual improvement in the actual team. And honestly, against the Sharks, I felt like they were very lackluster, and I definitely feel like there were opportunities where the Bulldogs could have actually won that game. And yeah, I definitely feel like at some point Crichton will go to fullback. I don't see Taaffe playing at fullback for a long term. So yeah, I don't see the Bulldogs going any higher. I'm definitely going to put them in my bottom 3. So 16th, Bulldogs. Coming at 15th, and this really is painful to say this, and honestly, this team was originally in my top 8 until I saw them in the trials, and that unfortunately is the Dolphins. Now, this is sadly due to the trials as well. So I felt like during the Titans game, they went into halftime 4 down. And honestly, I don't feel like any of their new signings were giving a bit too much effort. Gilbert has just been ruled out for the season, so that really sucks for him. So that's going to be interesting to see who plays lock going forward. And I know Gilbert is a really good player, and I definitely feel like he can add to the Dolphins. But yeah, just after those trials, because I definitely felt like Herbie and Flegler from the Broncos will bring some benefit to the table, but also with it being Bennett's last year, I really hope this isn't the case. So unfortunately, I am going to put Dolphins at 15. Coming at 14th is the Canberra Raiders. Now, they looked all right during their trials, but I feel against the other teams, I definitely feel like they are lower standard in terms of what they're going to have. I definitely feel like they've lost a bit of firepower. And I definitely feel like the Raiders, though this could be very wrong, because even though they did look good in the trials, I felt like they were slightly better than the Cowboys. But even though Cowboys won, I think Cowboys just got rolling on the end. But I definitely feel like the Cowboys are going to do a lot better this year than they did last year. So coming in at 13th, and I think this will make a lot of people happy, is the West Tigers. So they have to improve in 2024. There is really no excuse now. They've won back-to-back wooden spoons, and honestly, they need an improvement right now. And I only found out the other week that Caesar's actually signed on for 1 year. So if Aiden Caesar does really well this year, he will probably extend with the Tigers a lot, further. And damn, Luai and Caesar, that's going to be a deadly combination. And Olam brings a lot to the table as well. I definitely feel like he's going to be definitely going to add a lot of firepower in the centers. And yeah, I also felt like they looked good in their trial against the Warriors, but I did feel like they were lackluster in the Dragons, and I definitely feel like they were a little bit clunky in that game as well. But coming in at 12th, and surprisingly, it's funny that the Tigers were before this, we got the Sea Eagles. This is a blind choice. Unfortunately, this is kind of a blind choice because none of their main players, not really any of their main players played in the trials. When they were first the Roosters, they were decent, but they still got smashed. And then when they won against the Broncos, which that was a surprise how the Broncos won that. So that gives me a lot of confidence, but they unfortunately lost both their trials. It was their reserve grade side. Well, kind of, not really, but Though I like the addition of Luke Brooks, I definitely feel like he's going to be adding a lot to that team. So I definitely feel like the Sea Eagles can actually go a lot higher than I've placed them. Number 11, and this one's a controversial choice, I definitely feel like is the, I almost said Newcastle. Not Newcastle. The Cronulla Sharks. A lot of people are saying that they're going to have an easy season, but I feel after 2023, they're kind of on a slope, like going down. They are making good choices going forward. Like they've got Fanua Blake coming to them next year, and I definitely feel like that's going to make their team a lot better. But I don't feel like they have built around Nico Hines enough to the point where Nico Hines can be very comfortable. I definitely still feel Nico Hines is going to have a good year. Like I said last year, he had a decent year last year. I don't think he was as good as he was in 2022. But in saying that, I feel like the Sharks, I don't feel confident enough in the Sharks to put him in the 8. So yeah, Sharks at number 11. At number 10, we got the Titans. I feel their juniors played a lot better than their main squad in the trials, if I'm being honest. Though Des Hasler will be making improvements to the team throughout the season, I do believe they position around where I have put them. I feel like they will be in the 8 in 2025. Because Des Hasler, I definitely feel like he's going to bring a lot of good to the table, and I definitely feel like he's a good choice for the club. And I believe that's the Titans' first veteran coach too. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see some of the juniors play in during the season. I definitely can't wait for Origin period. They're going to be really interesting to see how they go along. At number 9, just missing the 8, is South Sydney Rabbitohs. It was a surprise not to see them in the finals in 2023, even though I predicted them not to make the finals. I don't know how I make that prediction. They will be on the right path and make the 8 in 2025. So I don't see them making the 8 in 2024, but I do see them making the 8 in 2025. However, like in saying that, the only reason I've put him in the bottom 9 is because of the injuries they have sustained throughout the preseason. Campbell Graham is out till round 22. Holy crap. And then obviously they don't get Jack White until round 3, but I think they're also like monitoring him to see how he goes. So yeah, I definitely feel like Souths are going to be a little bit hot and cold this year. And the fact, even losing Campbell Graham, that's a big deal. Holy crap. At number 8, just making the 8, is the Parramatta Eels. So originally I had the Eels in the bottom 9, but I think with the Rabbitohs kind of slipping, I feel like the Eels kind of just knocked back up a little bit. So I feel like Eels will be primed to retake their position in the top 8. And I definitely, though, I only feel like they're just going to make the 8. And I feel like that's where it's going to be a little... They were really impressive during their trial against the Titans. Again, like I said, the teams within this kind of tier, I feel like can still make the 8. So yeah, and we're about to end that tier. So we're going to go into the next team, which I do feel like they can make the 8, but they can't make the 8. And in number 7, we've got the Cowboys. They had a rough start in 2023, but if they're able to get over that, they're definitely going to make the 8. Their juniors, though, got destroyed by the Broncos, which they did step up. I think, like, the halftime score, Broncos were still in the lead, but, like, Cowboys, they were still giving it to them, which, honestly, but then Reece Walsh went full on, and then, yeah, just destroyed them. But they never gave up, and I definitely feel like their system is going to be a very good system to actually play with. So I can't wait to see some of the combinations that Todd Payton comes up with. But honestly, their trial with the Raiders, although I slightly put Raiders at a bit more firepower, the Cowboys were really good as well. So that was a really good game, by the way, that Raiders-Cowboys trial. Definitely, I cannot wait to actually watch those games in the actual season. Now we're going to move on to the top 6, which I definitely feel, these are the teams I definitely feel like are going to make the finals. Coming in at number 6 is the Newcastle Knights. Though they looked relatively okay in their trials, I do believe the top Knights will do well. Of course, I do see them placing lower if Ponga gets ruled out with injury, as unfortunately he is a bit injury prone. But if Ponga does not get ruled out or doesn't play Origin, I definitely feel like the Knights can be higher on the ladder if they've got Ponga for the entire year. If they don't have Ponga, I definitely see them being the lower side of the top 8. I felt like I said something about Jack Cogger and Tyson Gamble, and I felt like Jackson Hastings was a little injury prone, but his trial against the Knights, I felt like, oh wow, he might have just sold his 7 jersey. Jack Cogger needs to play 14 though. I definitely feel like being in that grand final in 2023, don't remind me of that, honestly. But yeah, he was very good. I definitely feel like he's going to be playing 14 at least. So yeah, Knights at number 6. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how the Knights go. At number 5, and if I get this wrong, and at this point, if this team does not place higher or lower, if this team does not place in the 8 this year, there's going to be a lot of questions. The Sydney Roosters. If the Roosters are able to get over their start of season slump, they will place higher. At this point, I also know that Dominic Young is actually injured, so that's actually going to play a big part, but also that just kind of lowers the strength of that wing as well. I also feel like if Dominic Young is actually playing there long term, he might play fullback when Tedesco retires. So if Dominic Young is going to be there long time, I definitely feel like Young will probably replace him at fullback. Yeah, Dominic Young has actually been injured, so unfortunately he won't be playing in round 1, but I think he's back in round 2 as far as I'm concerned. So it's also Jared Waerea-Hargreaves or JWH's final year in the NRL as well. I believe he's actually going off to the Super League. He's going to have to play really well if he wants to get into the top 8 this year. Honestly, like how are they placing lower than this? It beats the hell out of me. How are they not getting the premiership? And now we're in the top 4, baby. Coming in at number 4, and I regret putting these outside the top 8 last year, Melbourne Storm. This is potentially Bellamy's final year as the coach of the Melbourne Storm. I definitely feel like, by the way, this top 4, I see any of these teams getting in the grand finals. So pick is out of these 4 teams that are coming up. And I think, honestly, you'll kind of notice that the majority of these these 4 teams are exactly the same as last year, because I don't see anyone beating these teams, if I'm being honest. Storm also looked really good during their trials matches. Even the one with the Bulldogs, I felt like Pappenhausen, good to see him back. Honestly, I'm kind of excited. If he remains injury-free, he's going to be absolutely killer for the Storm. So yeah, I'm going to have Storm at number 4. Coming at number 3, it's the Waz, baby! With the additions of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Kurt Catewell, Harris, Channel Harris, I think that's his last name, I'm pretty sure. And then also returning from last year, Sean Johnson, Kloikstad, Zalesniak, Fanua Blake's final year as a Warrior. Yeah, but I definitely feel like the Warriors are going to do a lot better. I feel like they've got the hardest season out of every single team. I know people will argue that Rabbitohs have the hardest season, but I think it's going to be the Warriors. And I definitely think the Warriors can make the grand final this year. I just hope it's not against Penrith, because Penrith are going to trounce them, unfortunately. Speaking of number 2, and yeah, my minor premiership is a little bit biased, if I'm being honest. Coming in at number 2, the Penrith Panthers. I have the Panthers. So if you've actually been following my channel for the year coming out, you'll notice that I actually posted these prediction posts. I actually have the Panthers losing the first 4 games of the season. That's against the Storm, who always have a good record in round 1. The Parramatta Eels, who seem to be a bogey team for the Penrith Panthers. Round 3 against the Broncos, who will want grand final revenge, and then round 4, if Roosters remember to play football, then they will also beat the Penrith Panthers. They've lost Stephen Crichton. They've lost a few players, and then also losing the World Club Challenge. They're gonna have a lot of fire in their belly this year, the Panthers, because they're gonna want to win the grand final to get back to the World Cup Challenge, because they have something to prove now. And coming in at number 1 is Brisbane Broncos, baby, at number 1. And there's a good reason for this, and I know this might seem a bit biased. Now, can I be completely honest? The Broncos during the now, I originally had Broncos coming in at number 2 again, but honestly, after their preseason game, I'm starting to see a very Storm-like attitude from them in 2017. Honestly, I think the Broncos are going to have a really good year. And Reece Walsh is like still doing really well. Ezra Mann, unfortunately, Ezra Mann didn't actually play good from the Broncos this year. I do have them winning in the first game in Vegas, and I think I have them losing the second game against Souths. But other than that, I think Broncos are going to have a really good year, and I think they're going to be really hard to beat. I definitely feel like they are going to be the team to beat. That is my ladder prediction for 2024. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate you. Let's get into the season. Enjoy your rugby league, my friends. Be sure to leave a like on the video and comment down below your ladder prediction. And if you want to stay up to date with everything on the channel, be sure to subscribe. And then other than that, enjoy your footy, and I'll see you next week.